have the standardized response? So the standardized response, this one here, let us go through it. So this one, it will provide a consistent response structure across all API endpoints. So we have that, we have the success as I explained and other things. So benefits: obvious, consistent response structure for front-end handling, clear separation of successful and error responses, extensible for specific endpoints needs. So the next thing that we're gonna handle, it is the JWTUtils. So this one, obviously this will be the most complex file, so providing comprehensive JWT token handling with security features. So we have the class token manager, then we have the methods to generate tokens, we create secure access and refresh tokens for user. Key variables, we'll have them. Then we're gonna define refresh tokens to securely exchanges an old refresh token to a new, validate token to validate, and other methods that we're gonna create. So I hope we're gonna pay attention to this. This is the most complex part of it. So let us see how we're gonna do it. So before we start about this part for JWTUtils.py, so this one part, we're gonna define a token manager, which will act as a utility for generating, refreshing, validating, and managing the life cycle of JSON Web Tokens, that is JWTs, in this application. Then it will leverage the REST framework simple JWT that we installed library, but also we're gonna add our custom logic for enhanced security features like token blacklisting and metadata storage using the Django cache framework. Okay, so the primary goal of this, it is to provide a centralized, secure, and potentially revocable JWT system. So going beyond the basic functionality offered directly by the simple JWT. So that is offered by simple JWT out of the box. So then, especially concerning the refresh token management and immediate revocation. So the overall functionality of this will be to generate a pair of access and refresh tokens for a given user, maybe adding custom claims and unique identifiers. So it will also do the refresh an expired access token using a valid refresh token, and also blacklisting the old refresh token, that is in the token rotation. So validation, so we're gonna validate a token access or refresh without necessarily hitting the database, checking signature, expiration, and blacklisting status. Then we're gonna blacklist specific tokens of all tokens belonging to a user using the cache as a quick lookup mechanism. Then we're gonna store the token metadata, especially the IDs of the refresh tokens in the cache to facilitate blacklisting. So what we'll start with, we're gonna use from REST framework simple JWT.tokens. This one that we're gonna use. We're gonna import refresh token, also token error. Yeah, it is token error. Okay, then from date time, to handle our date time, import date time, and also time delta. This is for handling dates and also time. Then from Django dot conf import, we're gonna import settings. So settings, because we're gonna use those settings that we put in the settings.py. From Django dot core dot cache import cache. So then we're gonna import JWT, then we're gonna import login, so that we can know where we're gonna handle the errors. Import UID, then we're gonna import time also. Then from JWTUtils, we're gonna import time zone. So after doing that, we're gonna define the logger. This is for logging dot get logger, then name token manager. This is the class that we'll use to do that. So documentation, let us have enhanced JWT token manager with security features. So here we'll be using the static methods, where you declare a static method like this. You say at static method. So what is static method? So a static method is a decorator used to define a static method within a class. So static methods are functions that belong to the class but do not have access to the instance that is self or the class itself, the CLS. So they are called using the class name and are often used for utility functions, so that are logically related to the class but don't depend on its specific instances. So the moment you call that function, so immediately when you create utility functions, that is, you use at static decorator method. So that's why we're gonna use them here, because we do not need the instances of the class, but we want to use that class for other things. So we're gonna define the first one. So this is for to generate tokens. And who are we generating? We are generating for the user. That's why we declare user there. So in this user, let us have a documentation string. Let us write it here. We say generate. This we used for generating secure access and refresh tokens with enhanced claims and security So what we'll do, first of all, we're gonna use try and catch, so that we're gonna be able to catch the errors just in case. So we're gonna use try. So the try method. So what we'll do first, we're gonna get the refresh. We're gonna use that we imported there, refresh token dot for user the user we have passed there in the function. So first, what we'll do after getting the refresh, we're gonna create unique. We're gonna create unique JTI, that is JWT ID, so that we're gonna be able to track for better tracking. So to get the unique ID, we're gonna use JTI. We're gonna name it JTI is equals to string. We're gonna convert string, that is UUID dot UUID4 function. So we're gonna create ID, that is UUID. So then let us add the custom claims with security considerations. So what we'll do, refresh, we are using that variable there. Refresh, we're gonna pass JTI because we want to use that UID is equals to JTI. Then refresh, I'm gonna explain it. First of all, let us write it is equals to user dot username, the username of the user. So refresh, we want also to get what from the user. Refresh to know if the user is staff. These ones we defined them in the model. So refresh to get if it's verified. User dot is verified. Then refresh, gonna get email of the user. This is for creating the token. So user dot email. Then lastly, we want to know the type of refresh of the token. So type here, it is refresh. It's a string, so refresh. Then we're gonna set up the access token. Access token. So access token refresh, gonna use the refresh that we defined there, then it will give us access token to get that variable. Then access token type, we're gonna say it is access. You can say access token the way you want to say it. Then access token, the ID JTI is equals to str UUID. We're gonna use a different UID here for access token. UID 4. So let us give a comment here. We say different JTI for access token. Then after that, what we'll do is that we're gonna get the expiration from the, so get expiration times 4 from the from settings as we defined them in the settings. Access expiry. Settings dot, yes, we have simple, we defined simple JWT. So dot get, we're gonna get the access, we defined it access token. You can go there and check it lifetime, and if it is not available, what we'll do, we just define ours here, time delta of 15. We're gonna define just 15 minutes. Yeah, just if it is not available in the settings. So but we notice there, so refresh expiry for when the refresh token will expire is equals to settings dot simple JWT dot get. What we are getting from there, it is refresh token lifetime. But if it is not there, we can have this time delta of days. We're gonna have days, just 14 days, just 2 weeks. Then after that, what we'll do, so we need now to store the token metadata. So what we'll do is that we'll do store, let us have a comment here, token metadata in cache for potential revocation. So what we'll do, gonna use token manager, our class. So we're gonna create this helper function, store the private function method to store token. This won't be used outside this class, so we're gonna use, so what we'll pass here is that we're gonna pass user.id, the ID of the user, the ID of the token, ID of the token. Then what else will we need? Okay, refresh expiry, and then we convert it to total seconds. So what we'll do, let us define this one first. Let us define it here. It will be still a static method. Gonna use that decorator. So def store, gonna store token metadata. So what this needs, user ID, it requires user ID, JTI, expiry in seconds. So this one, let us have a documentation string. So store token metadata in cache for blacklisting. First of all, we try. So first of all, what we need is to check. So in future, we're gonna integrate with Celery and Redis. So we're gonna need to add we are. First of all, check if we are using Redis. So has that client attribute, or we have what, or the standard, the log mem cache of Django. So cache, so if has attribute, so in Redis, which we learned, it has this attribute for client. If we have that one, so we're gonna is Redis. So user tokens key, the key for the token. So it's a string user tokens, then we're gonna pass the user ID. So user tokens, we're gonna have the user ID there. Then pipe, these are just for Redis, so this one we're gonna learn later. We're gonna come back later as the project grows, because we're building a real world application. Pipeline, then pipe dot add user tokens key. So we're gonna add the user tokens key and the ID of the token, then pipe dot expire, user tokens key, then the expiry seconds, then pipe dot execute. So this one should not bother you currently. We're gonna come back later as the project grows. So else we're gonna use the log mem cache. So generic implementation for log mem is for Django, that comes with Django. User tokens, we're gonna declare them here also as we did the app. User tokens, so we have the user ID. Then after that, we're gonna have the token set, is for storing the tokens. So cache dot get user tokens key in the set. So if not is instance, so we're gonna check if token set, this token set, if the set is the instance of the token set, we're gonna set the token set is equals to set. As you can see, token set is just build an ordered collection of unique elements. So after that, if it is not instance, so after that we're gonna add the token set dot add, we're gonna add the ID JTI, then cache dot set user tokens key, obvious, then token set, we want to cache all these things, then timeout is equals to int as usual, expiry expiry seconds. So after that, when you try to do that, then we're gonna accept. It simply means there will be an error in storing our tokens. So we are going to declare our exception as E. So that is where we're gonna use now the logger.error, so that we're gonna be able to know where the error occurred. But this one won't stop the processing of the token. This is just storing the metadata in the cache to prevent from hitting the database every time we want to know the status of the token. So it's good for large systems to prevent working the database. So after that, what we'll do, we have now in that state, we have just stored the token metadata in the cache. So after that, now we're gonna return if it is stored or not. We're gonna return the full token. Yeah, now the full token. So return full token package. So we're gonna say return. So it's a dictionary. So we're gonna access. This is what the front end gonna receive. So string, obviously we're gonna convert it to string, access token. Then refresh token, we're gonna return refresh token also. Obviously we're gonna convert it to string of the refresh. So then token, we're gonna send the token type. Automatically this one, it's a bearer. Then what else? We're gonna send also expiry. Expires in what? Is where now int. We're gonna send the integer of access expiry dot total seconds. Then user ID of the user.id. Then we're gonna know when it was issued at int time. So after that, if it fails to do that, this is where now we have the exception. So as you can see, the exception when our try fails, so we need to handle that exception. So exception as E, exception as E, then we're gonna logger.error, then function, then string failed to generate token. Now let us now understand what we have done. So in this static method to generate tokens, what we have done is that, as you can see in the documentation string, generate a secure, access and refresh tokens with enhanced claims and security. So first of all, so we start by creating refresh token. This is standard way for it's the standard way for creating simple JWT token so that we can generate the refresh token for the linked user. That's why we have passed the user here. So that's why. So don't ask why, because this is the standard way for simple JWT to generate a refresh token for the user. Then we have come here, we have created this part for create unique. So this unique, we have used UID, the UID for. So this JTI is crucial for token blacklisting and tracking, so that we can be able to track the token, we can blacklist. So we have added it to the refresh tokens. We're gonna add it to the refresh tokens. So after that, we have the custom claims. So custom claims, we have username is staff, is verified, email type. So these are added to the refresh token. So this allows information about the user and token type to be embedded directly in the token payload, so accessible without database lookup after decoding. So though sensitive info should be used cautiously. Adding type helps distinguish between access and refresh tokens. So then we have the set. Okay, let us come here, this comment. So access token here, this part for access token. So here we have derived the access token from the refresh token by refresh.access token. So then we add a different JTI here, this one. We have added this one here. The reason to do that, using a different JTI for access and refresh tokens, is good practice for security and tracking. So then expiry times, these are defined in the settings. So yeah, when you come here in the settings.py, you will see them here. You can see simple JWT, the access token lifetime and other things. So that's why you have used it here. So after doing that, just in case there is no, maybe you have not defined there, we define a custom, the default by 15 minutes and 14 days. So after that we call now this method, the store token metadata, user ID, JTI. So so that we can save the refresh tokens JTI in the cache, so that is associated with the user ID. So this is the foundation for user specific token blacklisting. So what happens in this part for store token metadata? Let us check here. We see what is going on. So we have defined this is an internal helper method to store the JTI of a refresh token in the cache, so associated with the user ID. So this is used to keep track of active refresh tokens for a user, enabling the blacklist all for user tokens functionality. So it constructs cache keys specific to the user tokens. This is where you construct the cache specific to the user. So it checks whether we are using the Redis or the normal cache. So the default lock mem cache for user. Then we have the cache entries. Expiry is set based on the refresh token's lifetime. That's why we have here expiry seconds. So after we do that, we come here to return now the full token package. So the full token package, we are storing it, then returning it now. So after that, we return. So to return it, we are using the dictionary containing the generated tokens and relevant metadata: token type, expiration times, user ID, and issued time. So then we are handling the errors, so that's why we have included try and accept for that. So why did we design this way? So using refresh token for user ensures standard simple JWT claims like user ID are included and the token is properly signed. So then adding custom claims reduces the need for database lookups for basic user information during token validation or authorization checks. Using JTIs provides a mechanism for uniquely identifying tokens, essential for implementing blacklisting. So storing refresh token JTIs in a cache allows for efficient lookups when blacklisting or tokens for a user or checking if a token has been blacklisted. So fetching settings makes the token configuration flexible. So that's why we have the one in the settings.py, so you can change it from that point. Then returning a structured dictionary provides all necessary information to the client. So next, what you are going to handle, the refresh token. So to generate refresh token, so we're gonna create a method to do refresh tokens. So the purpose of this method, we'll take an existing refresh token and we'll attempt to issue a new pair of access and the refresh tokens. So let us define it. Obviously it's a static method. So we're gonna define what do we want? Yeah, define refresh tokens. So refresh, it will accept refresh, it will get a refresh token. So here let us write the documentation string. So refresh tokens with validation and optional rotation. So after doing that, what we'll do, as usual, we're gonna try and accept. So first of all, we're gonna pass and validate the token that we get. So validate the refresh token. This is what's gonna happen here. So the token we're gonna get, so token, let us assign it to a variable. So refresh token. So refresh token, the one that we're gonna get from that place. So then first of all, you must check if token is blacklisted. So we're gonna check if it is blacklisted. JTI is equals to token dot get JTI. JTI is the ID. So if not JTI, if it is not JTI, or token manager dot gonna have is token blacklisted. So here we're gonna create a method, so that we're gonna create this method to check whether the token is blacklisted. So logger, we're gonna get the error warning. This is a warning. F, so attempt to use blacklisted with JTI. So this is to try to use a blacklisted JTI. So raise token error. This is when we're gonna use the token error. Then we're gonna say token is blacklisted. So what we'll do first, gonna define gonna define this one is token blacklisted method. So this one gonna take the JTI and check whether it is blacklisted. So we're gonna come here because it will check where it is stored. So it is a static method. So we're gonna define is token blacklisted. Okay, so it will accept the JTI. So it's gonna check if a token is blacklisted. Okay, so here if not JTI, we're gonna check if it is a JTI. So return if it is not, we're gonna say false. Else we're gonna blacklist. So blacklist token. So blacklist key, we're gonna get the key for the blacklisted token. So blacklisted token, so JTI, so we are getting the blacklisted token. Then return cache dot get blacklist key, then it is false. So after that, so what we'll do after you have checked if it is blacklisted, and if it is not blacklisted, what we'll do is that we're gonna get the user ID. So what we do here, we get the user from that token. So user ID is equals to token dot get user ID. So here we are doing this so that we're gonna get from the refresh token that we get, we'll be able to get the information that we want, so that we're gonna now update it and do other things. So here, so I will import something from authentication, that is from the models import user. So I've imported here, import here to avoid circular imports. So after that, we're gonna try, after we get the user ID, so we're gonna try to user is equals to user, to associate the user with that ID. Objects dot get ID is equals to user ID, the one that we have received from the refresh token, except user. If user does not exist, with that ID, we're gonna give a warning. So warning will say what? We say if token refresh attempted for none existent user ID. So then we give that user ID that was used. Then after that, if the user exists, let us first of all check if user. So we're gonna check if user is still active. If not, user.is active. If it is false, we're gonna give a warning. So this warning will say token refresh attempted. This is to handle the situations that user might be inactive user. We do not want to give the refresh to inactive users, so that's why we are using that. Then we're gonna blacklist that token if user is not active and we have received the token. So we need to blacklist the token to prevent future usage of that token. So token manager dot, we're gonna define a method to blacklist token. So JTI, so this one method will accept the JTI so that we're gonna blacklist it. So let us now create that blacklist token method. So we're gonna create it here just below the store token. So at static method, so blacklist token, JTI. So it will accept a JTI. So what we'll do here is that blacklist a token by JTI. Let us put it capital. Yeah. So if not, must check whether it's a JTI, then return. If it is not, return false. So then what we'll do, if it is a JTI, we're gonna add to blacklist. Blacklist with expiry. Then so what we do, blacklist key, blacklisted, listed token JTI. Someone might be asking why do we put it below store? Because this is where they are stored. So we need, after storing, you can be able to blacklist the key. So cache true, then timeout is equals to settings dot simple JWT dot gonna get the blacklist timeout. It will be a day, so we're gonna have it for a day. Data 6, this is the default data 6 400, that is default. One day. So after doing that, let us now continue the refresh token. Where are we? So here, after you have checked if the user is inactive, if the user is inactive, now we're gonna blacklist the token. Now what if the user is not? So after that, we're gonna, after checking all those things and they are okay, we're gonna now if token, we're gonna check if token rotation it's enabled, whether it is true. So we blacklist the current token. So if settings dot simple JWT dot get rotate refresh tokens. So if it is true, the default is the default. If it is true, the default is true. So we do token manager dot blacklist token, that token. Then we're gonna generate new tokens. So return token manager dot generate. We're gonna generate new tokens, so for that user. So just in case there is an error, except token error, ASCII, we're gonna give this warning. If there was token error, I'm gonna say string, this string gonna give this warning. So token refresh error. So string of that E. So then we raise it, except, so we can still find another one. If it is not in the token error, maybe there are some other issues, as E, we're gonna logout dot error. So F, unexpected error during token refresh. String then of that error. So what we'll do, we're gonna have a recap to know what is going on here, if you have not yet gotten the reason behind it. So the purpose of this part, the method takes the existing refresh token here and attempts to issue a new pair of access and refresh tokens. So in our design, first we pass the refresh token into the refresh token object. So this one automatically performs basic validation like signature, expiry. So then we retrieve the JTI from the refresh tokens claims. After that we check if the JTI, if it is JTI, and if it is blacklisted. So when you look at this method here, this one will check whether it is blacklisted or not. If it is blacklisted or it is not a JTI, we give this warning. We raise that, we give warning, then we raise the error. So after that, if it is not blacklisted, it is not, and it is a JTI, now we get the user ID from the token. So after that, we check if then we check if the ID exists in the database, and if it does not exist, we give the warning and we raise the error. So then we check if the user is active. If the user is in the database, we check if it is active. Then if it is not, we raise also an error, then we blacklist the token. So then if the user meets the above validations, now this is where now we check if the rotate refresh tokens, it is true. And if it is true, we blacklist that token. We blacklist the token ID. So this is token rotation. Once a refresh token is used, it becomes invalid. So that's why we blacklist it there. Then finally, so we call generate tokens. So we generate the new pair of tokens. Then we include some comprehensive error handling here. So for handling the token error. So why did we design that way? So using refresh token, the refresh token, then we pass it there. So leverages the simple JWT built-in passing and initial validation. Then we checking the blacklist before issuing the new tokens prevents the use of revoked refresh tokens. Then fetching and validating the user ensures that tokens are only refreshed for existing and active users. Token rotation, that is blacklisting the old refresh token, is a security measure that limits the window of opportunity for a compromised refresh token to be used multiple times. Generating a new pair ensures fresh expiration times and potential new JTIs. The next part that we are going to deal with, it is the validate token. So we need to validate the tokens that we are getting. So the purpose of this, it is to validate a given token string, so either access or refresh without requiring a database lookup for user information. So it checks they're gonna check the signature, expiration, and blacklisting status. So let us define our static method for validation. So at static method, so def validate token. So we're gonna name like that, then we're gonna receive a token string here. So here what will happen is that we're gonna validate token without using the database. So it will return, I think we're gonna return tuple. Yes, valid user ID and token type. So what we'll do here, we're gonna try first of all, so first use JWT to decode without verification to get the algorithm. We want to get the algorithm. So unverified, that is the token that we are receiving. So JWT dot decode. So decode, then we're gonna get token string, that one. Then so options, we're gonna verify. Okay, it is a dictionary, so verify signature. We're gonna set it false. We don't want to verify here the signature. So algorithm, let us name it ELG, is equals to unverified, the token that we get, that we decoded. So get, so ELG settings dot simple JWT dot get, we're gonna get it the algorithm, that one we defined in the settings.py. Failure to that, we're gonna use the custom 256. Okay, after that, after we get the algorithm, now we gonna properly decode and verify. So we're gonna decode and verify. So to decoded, let us name it decoded, because it will be decoded here. JWT dot decode. So here we're gonna define token string, that one will be passed here. Then settings dot simple JWT dot get signing key. Then we call it settings dot secret key. After that, what we do, the algorithms is equals to LG that we got. Then options, the one now, so that it will verify signature. We set it to true here. So after doing that, what we'll do next is to check the token type. So we're gonna check, after decoding, check token type. So token type is equals to the decoded dot get. We're gonna get token type, then decoded dot get type, then we have access, then we're gonna get user ID. So to get user ID, we're gonna decoded dot get obvious user ID. Then after that, we're gonna get JTI is equals to decoded dot get JTI. So then after that, what we'll do next is to check if token is blacklisted. So if JTI and token manager, our class, is, so that we're gonna get is blacklisted, the JTI. So if it is blacklisted, so logger, we're gonna use logger to give the warning. If attempt to use blacklisted token with JTI. So JTI, that one. Then return false. Gonna return false none. False none. So false none and none. So if it is not blacklisted, we're gonna check expiration, that is the expiry date of it. So exp is equals to decoded dot get, so exp expiration date, failure to that, give 0, so it is not. If exp is less than time, the current time, so logger dot debug token expired at date time dot from timestamp, so exp, then we convert it to ISO format. If it has expired, so we're gonna return false none. Then if it passes the above, so we're gonna return to true. Then user ID, token type. So we're gonna return it if it passes the above validation. So then if it fails, we're gonna show JWT.py this one, JWT error as e, then logger dot debug, then f token validation error. So string e. So after that we're gonna return, we want to return true, we're gonna return false because it has failed, then none, it's no user ID, none token type, and that's our validation method. As we conclude that part, so the purpose of this part of validate token, as I started saying, I was saying that this is to validate a given token, string, access or refresh, so without requiring database lookup for user information. So the way we have designed this, so we're gonna use the JWT library directly for decoding and verification. So it first decodes the token without verifying the signature. That's why we have said false here, to verify without decoding the token without verifying the signature. So to extract then we extract the algorithm used. So obviously this is a common pattern to know which algorithm to use for the actual verification. Then after that so it then decodes with the signature here, this part, it decodes with signature verification using the sending key from settings, this one, from settings, then and the extracted algorithm, this one. Then after that we do what from here part, then so this step throws an error if the signature is invalid or the token is malfunctioned. So that part. So then after that we extract the token type from here, and token type, we extract token type, user ID, then and JTI from the decoded payload. So we then check if the token is blacklisted. If so, we return false. We return false, none for user ID and type. So then we check the expiration time against the current time. If expired, it returns false. So that's why we are looking with the current time. So return the current time in seconds since the airports. So after that, what we do, if all the checks pass, it returns true, the user ID and the token type. So then lastly we include the error handling specifically for JWT error for decoding or verification issues, and returns false in case of any validation failure. So why designed this way? So using JWT directly provides a fine-grained control over the decoding and verification process. Checking signature, expiration, and blacklisting are the core validation steps for JWT. Returning a tuple is valid user ID token type, provides the necessary information for subsequent authorization steps without needing to fetch the user object immediately. Avoiding a database lookup makes this validation faster and suitable for middleware or frequent checks. So that is the work of that part. So lastly, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna add the method to blacklist all user tokens. So we'll come here at the end of the file. Here we define a static method. This is to the purpose of this part. So blacklist all user tokens. So it's gonna receive the user ID. So the purpose of this, it is to blacklist all currently active refresh tokens associated with a specific user. So this is where now the user tokens can be blacklisted, all of them. So documentation, so try, so user tokens, we're gonna assign them to this part. User tokens key is equals to F. So user tokens user ID. So if has attribute, this attribute is to check if it is in the, if cache has attribute client, that is obvious, the Redis, but this you will learn later as you continue the course. So this Redis implementation active tokens is equals to cache dot client dot as members. These are from Redis, so don't worry about it currently. We'll learn about it later as the project continues to grow. If not active tokens, so you return 0, else, so you want to blacklist all the tokens, so add each token to blacklist. So for JTI in active tokens, so we're gonna blacklist them, token manager dot blacklist token, let accept the GTI decode, so UTF-8 if is instance JTI, if JTI bytes, if the JTI it is in the bytes, else JTI, then we're gonna clear the set. So cache dot delete is to delete user tokens key, then you return len size of tokens. So else, if you have used the the normal cache, that is generic implementation for log mem cache. So after that, so we do token set is equals to cache dot get user tokens key in the set. If not token set, if there is no token set, so we return 0. So blacklist each token. So we're gonna blacklist each token. So for JTI in token set token manager dot blacklist token, list JTI that ID. Then after that we clear the set. So cache dot delete user tokens key. Then we return length of token set. So if that fails, so we do exception. So exception as E. We're gonna log here the error blacklisting user tokens. So the recap is that why should we design? Okay, so here is the blacklist or user tokens we have implemented. So this one purpose is to blacklist all current active refresh tokens associated with a specific user. So it takes the user ID, so it constructs the user specific tokens cache key. So that's why we need this cache key for tokens. So if we have Redis, it retrieves all JTIs stored in the set for that user using S members. It reads through these JTIs and calls blacklist token for each. Finally, it deletes the user set from the cache. If not Redis here, this is that part. It retrieves the set of JTIs from the cache. It reads through them, calls blacklist token for it, and then deletes the user set from the cache. Then returns the count of tokens that were blacklisted. It includes the error handling here. So that's how it is. So why did we design that way? So it provides a convenient way to invalidate all active sessions for a user, e.g. when they change their password, log out from all devices, or their account is deactivated. So leverages the token metadata stored by store token metadata, that method we had there. So handles different cache backends appropriately. Clearing the user set after blacklisting ensures that the future checks for for that user won't find all JTIs. So before we do that, before we conclude this part, as you can see, we have added the Redis this cache to hold the cache. So what we'll do is that we're gonna set up the settings.py to handle the both Redis and also the mem cache, so that for a fallback. So here we'll do cache settings. So cache is equals to, we're gonna define, so this part for cache, you're gonna leave it like this, so that in future you want to use Redis for, because the application will be growing. So Django.core, this is how you get the Redis backends.redis cache. Then location, we're gonna put it in Redis. Local host 6379 on this port 6379, but this we're gonna change because we're gonna use the environment. So after that, what do we need? Timeout. How long will it stay? Timeout, that's 600. That is the default will be default cache timeout 1 hour. Then here we have options. Here's how we set up the Redis client class, Django Redis. This one it's in the documentation, so it should not bother you. Default client. Then what we need else, it is socket connect timeout 5. This is just 5 seconds. Then socket timeout 5 seconds also. Ignore exceptions. True. So for fallback, this is for fallback. Like currently we don't have the Redis, so in memory cache if Redis is unavailable. So caches is equals to, so default so location will be unique snowflake. So that's how we're gonna set it for now, but we'll be working on as we continue. As the project grows, we're gonna continue working on it.